All right. Welcome to the second episode of Winner's Circle, where we have guests that are phenomenal, that are amazing, that have done amazing work in their careers, in their lives, and in their space where they operate. So if you haven't subscribed, please click on the subscribe button, click on the notifications bell so that you don't miss any of our guests that are coming up. As you know me, I'm Witness Mtaka. I'm the author of a book called It's More Than Just Money, a guide to escaping the rat race and building generational wealth. Now, I'm looking forward to today's episode. We have a phenomenal, amazing lady who's doing amazing work in the talent management space. She's the founder of eTalent. Her name is Nokuthula Molepo. Nokuthula.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
I'm also looking forward to it, but I have to correct you.
Yeah.
It's Global eTalent.
Global? Did I say eGlobal?
Yes. It's Global eTalent.
Okay, guys, it's Global eTalent. I want you to check it out. Check out the amazing work that they're doing. They're helping thousands of people find employment.
Absolutely.
And so it basically means they're solving the employment gap or the employment problem in society, more specifically in countries like ours, where we have high employment issues.
Yeah.
And since Nokuthula, basically, maybe we can get into more about you and where you come from and why you thought about solving this massive problem that we have in society right now. So you're welcome.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. My name, as you've just said, it's Nokuthula Molepo. I am originally from KZN. Don't mind the surname, you know us women.
Yeah.
With the surnames.
We migrate.
Yes, we migrate, you know. But I'm originally from KZN, born, bred, studied there, I think, all the way up to university. I completed my psych degree in UKZN. Well, now it's called UKZN.
Psychology.
Yes, psychology.
Yep.
I've always had passion, for people. And in my mind, I thought I could solve people's issues. I don't know how I came about with that. But as they say in psychology, you come up with these things because maybe it's a need of yours that you need to be fixed. So then you want to obviously go into that space. So I guess maybe somehow, somewhere, I had that need. And I thought that, if there's more of me that can fix people or solve people's issues, the world would be a better place. But yeah, so in a nutshell, that's myself. And my career also began in KZN. I started in a very small firm. And they say humble beginnings are everything. And I absolutely am a product of humble beginnings, where I started in a small company. We all have obviously aspirations. We want to all work for these big corporates. And, when you start out, when you finish your degree, I think there's something that they tell us in universities about these corporates. But I was fortunate to actually get this opportunity with a small firm that allowed me to actually explore myself. And I was able to discover that actually I'm really passionate about, developing people, So I then started an HR department within that company. Mm-hmm. And from there, I moved on to then started my then career now with the big corporates, which would be Grindrod. That I started.
Grindrod,
yes. I worked at Grindrod. From Grindrod, the rest is history. But yeah, I guess maybe if I can also share with you why I came into the space. Like what I discovered with myself is that each and every company that I ever worked for, there was always someone that I would pull in. There was always someone, when there was an opportunity, someone would benefit from me being in that space, because I feel like I'm that individual that is so passionate about seeing other people also win in life. So I think it was just a natural thing then from, doing HR and then obviously being exposed to these opportunities because I work with these opportunities. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was, I guess, a natural thing, an easier thing for me to be able to do for people that I felt like were in need. So yeah, then, in my process or in my career as I was working, putting in people, I realized, maybe there's something about this. If I can do it without getting paid, as in like to help others. Maybe it's something that I can actually do as a career or as a business. And that's how I started Global eTalent.
So going back to how you started,
Yeah.
you said born and bred
Yes.
in KZN.
Yes.
So does it mean rural KZN? Because I don't hear any rural person speaking here. You're well spoken, of course, which
Thank
tells me you
you.
went to very good schools. But I'm interested more in your background, just to get a glimpse of what it is. Was it rural KZN? Was it Umhlanga, Rocks? What was it?
Very small part of rural, but from Ndwedwe, Ndwedwe.
Okay.
Yes, Ndwedwe mission. Who do we know that is from there? Oh yes, Minister. Oh, why is it running? He's from Ndwedwe.
He's a minister.
Yeah. He's just been changed now, so I think that's where I'm. Yeah. I'll remember his name, but yeah, he's from the village where, we come from. Yes.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And then your decision to study psychology.
Yeah.
And then eventually branching into HR.
Yeah.
Which led up to where you are now.
Yeah.
Right. Was that a conscious decision that you made that did you want to become a psychologist? Or you didn't even know, like most people, you just closed your eyes and chose a career?
So I'm going to be very honest with you, ne?
Yeah, be honest with me.
So, as you're growing up, right, there's this thing of, I want to be a doctor, I want to be this. So, of course, I wanted to be a doctor, but science was dealing with me. Look, maths I could try, but science was really a thing
Physics
for me.
was the problem.
And I knew exactly. And I knew that, you needed that, as a subject in order for you to get into, the studies. So I then thought, okay, what else could I do to become a doctor? Then I was like, because I've always wanted to help people, maybe, then I obviously did my research, and psychology was one where I could end up being the doctor, making my parents proud, becoming a doctor. But then I think as, I enjoyed, by the way, studying psychology. It was one of those eye-opening and very interesting course that I did. It was absolutely, I think even the modules that one was taking, they were very life-changing because there's a lot of things that we've learned. And I think anyone who's ever studied psychology would know that you don't really come out the same. The way that you observe the world and you look at things, you view it from a completely different lens than other people. So, so that's the career that I then went into. And as I said, then I transitioned from that because I had to do practical, training. And I went to a place called Dream Center back then when HIV was ripe. It was, I think it's the peak of that disease, that it was literally killing our nation.
What year is this, 2000?
This is 2007. No, 2006.
2006,
yes,
okay.
After completing everything. And then I went into that center to obviously counsel people that were dying from that disease. Oh my goodness. I remember I would get home, my eyes would be bloodshot red. My mom would ask me, what's going on? Were you crying? I'm like, no, it was a stress. Because I think I was explaining this to somebody this other day, and I said, this one time my supervisor gave me a chart sheet, like we'd get like in the morning to say, okay, this is who you're going to be seeing. And it said 41 years. And at the time, obviously, you're 20 something, you're thinking you're going to see somebody quite old, for 41. Then I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, let me go look for this guy. Obviously it's a hospital, so people are sleeping in their beds. I'm walking in there. I can't see him. I can see there's beds and I can see there's people, but I can't see this 41-year-old man that I'm supposed to look for. Then I get there and they point at this bed that looked like there was a child. I think from there, I was so shaken by that experience and having to go look at this man who's 41, like literally at, what is it? They say death's door. That for me was the most traumatizing experience in my pursuit of being a psychologist. Then I realized that probably I'm not so good, because why would I be so afraid to approach a situation like that? And also as a psychologist, from what I've seen, some of the things you can't really, when you're dealing with an issue, you can't take it back home. And I couldn't separate the two. Once I was in that moment, I would be thinking about what I've met, what I saw, how it's affected my life. And, I was very much traumatized from that. And then I said, okay, we're not doing this anymore. We're going to then pivot into HR, which I think I must have fell in love with it. And I think I was much more comfortable in doing that. But yeah, so that's how I ended up, doing human resource work.
So I take it that you would describe that particular moment as your turning point.
Absolutely.
Moment.
Absolutely.
How important are those moments in terms of one's career development to have that particular turning point?
Look, especially if you discover that something isn't for you, I think it's very important that you discover that early on before going in and exhausting yourself, because, that turning point really didn't happen early enough. So I'm grateful for me that happened in my practical years, where I had to actually get this, practical training to realize that I wasn't good. I wasn't going to make a very good psychologist. Hence, I had to then obviously take a pivot. And, my friends that actually did pursue and they became doctors, they're telling me the kind of stresses that they face. I mean, one of them, she was just like, she's had to face sisters that were raped by their father, on a continuous basis. And she would say those kids would have to leave my office, and knowing very well the environment that they were going to, and there's nothing I could do about it. And as a psychologist, you have to remove. And I thought, that's why I know I could never be that, because those kids for me would have been literally, I would have taken them home, trying to save them from the situation. And I think as, that particular field, I don't think those are things that are seen to be professional. So I think I definitely wouldn't have survived. That is why I'm saying, for me, that turning point, it happened quite early, and I'm so grateful that it did. But I still respect, I have my sessions with my psychologist. I love, doing it, but I guess you can choose as well. You can choose which field you want to go into. But I think in the beginning, you are exposed to quite a lot. I think your training happens in hospitals. And I think, for me, that's where the turning point was.
Right. Yeah. So, and then that training of psychology.
Yeah.
Now stepping into the HR space.
Yes.
The HR sector.
Yes.
How important was that learning environment in psychology when you went into now your HR related work?
Yeah, one would think it would be quite material, right? But it isn't, because you think that HR is about that, you understanding the people, right?
Yes. Cool. And because you're a psychologist, you can read their minds.
No. Even psychology is not about reading minds, though.
Yeah.
It's really not. I think it's understanding it's a study of human behavior. And I think a lot of times people get
confused with reading minds. I did that deliberately.
No, it's not reading minds. It's not. No one can read a mind. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So one would think that it would help. But in practice, human resources is about processes, from my experience, and not necessarily about understanding per se the people or human behavior at work. From my experience, it's always been, this is what you need to do. I think very rarely you find, HR practitioners practicing that humanness. And I think that's what they always say, that we're missing the humanness in the human resources, because really, I don't know whether it's just the way it's practiced that we're not allowed to do that, or it's a situation of...
what do you mean not allowed?
How can I say it? I think a good HR practitioner is someone who makes sure that they follow to the letter the processes of that particular company, and not necessarily that comes in and counsels people. What you would think, a human resource person would be in an organization. So I think, the human part is missing. That's what I can say. So if you want to bring in the psychology part into HR, I think we're still quite a long way to getting there. It should be there, but we're not yet there.
A lot of people always confuse it with industrial psychology. Is there a difference between the two?
Which one? Human
resource and industrial psychology. You explain the psychology part, but then comes industrial psychology.
Yeah.
Then human resources.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between the two? how does one interlink them if they are?
So, I'm not going to speak too much about the industrial psychology, even though I did a few courses on it, very related to HR, in fact, but I think obviously once you pursue it further, then I think the courses would obviously differ, but from my experience, I think when I was trying to change when I was changing my general psychologist into industrial, we did labor relations, we did, the common ones that you would find within, the human resource field. So it's not really per se in the beginning of the study different, but as you progress into, the studies, then obviously there is, I think you would see the changes where there's psychometrics, the study again of, the human behavior more, more closely, more intensely, where you are now can actually come up with psychometric measures, how to measure people's behavior, cognitive abilities, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I would say that's the part that would be a little bit more different as compared to HR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you discover then that you could eventually become somebody who's able to run their own business? Because a lot of people function very well in the workspace.
Yeah.
They do extremely well.
Yeah.
But what they don't get, it doesn't necessarily mean the same person taken from that environment can do extremely well running a business. One person could be CEO of a company, right?
Yeah.
Where they've got a board, they do very well.
Yes.
But the same person cannot start their own business and run it. So how did you differentiate and have that transition?
I'll tell you a story how I know. Okay, besides the fact that I come from a family that is my family, there's just entrepreneurs. People are running their own businesses, catering. There's quite a lot. So I grew up in that environment anyways. So I would say maybe the comfort into going into that space comes from there, that my background, from my family, that's what, my family has always been they've been in that space of entrepreneurship. Yeah. So I think when I was in, what grade was this? Probably grade 10. I saw an opportunity to sell biscuits because our tuck shop did not sell biscuits.
Okay, you're those kids that used to annoy us at school.
Yes, but you loved my biscuits. I know you would have been one of those. So yeah, I started a business. I was selling biscuits. And the funny part about it, I'm telling you, this is real. A Murray, it's not a Murray, it's a Romany cream.
Yeah.
So they were selling Romany creams, your lemon, but I chose Romany creams because I liked them. So I used to sell that. It's literally two halves joined together and there's a cream inside, right?
Yes. Don't tell me you separated them.
No, wait. This was, if it was, because it was, I think it was reject or something like that. If it was like this, it was 50 cents. If it was like that, it was, that was 25 cents.
Yeah.
And if it broke,
let's
believe me, I would put I would put a price on that and I would sell that.
Wow.
So I really realized that, I really loved trading. I really loved, to sell. And I loved it so much that even when I was leaving high school, I sold the business to my friend. And I think that's still...
You sold the biscuit business to your friend?
To my friend.
What did you sell? You sold the idea or what?
I don't even know what it was. At the time, it was the idea or whatever, but I know I sold the business. She bought it.
Yeah.
And I was leaving. Imagine, I was leaving matric. I had completed my matric and she was going to stay because she was a grade lower than 11,
me. Yeah.
Yeah. And she bought it. I think it must have been 150 or something like that, but it was just very small amount of money. Wow. But the idea of having to sell a business she could have taken over that business without having to consult me even.
Yeah.
But
it must have been that good then.
It was really good. It was really good. I think a lot of times I would buy myself clothes with the money that I made from there, and sometimes help out at home and get bread if there wasn't. So it's definitely something that I look back and I'm proud of myself for, and to say that's when I knew that, running a business and making my own money was something that I absolutely loved doing.
Yeah, I can sense the passion
in
this as you're speaking.
Yeah.
Right? And which begs another question.
Yeah.
When you are trading,
yes.
right, it's easy to see that you're doing business.
Yeah.
You buy one thing, you sell it to someone.
Yeah.
You buy another, you sell it to someone.
Yeah.
But in the human talent management space, you don't see exactly what you're selling because it's a service, right? How did you identify something like that as a business? It's something that you say you were doing for free anyway.
Yeah.
You were getting people to find jobs.
Yeah.
You were plugging in your friends whenever you get a job. And then now you transitioned and said, this should be a business. When did that light bulb switch on?
I think I'm not going to take ownership of this because I think, it was already being done. I think there's a lot of businesses. I mean, I think in our times there was, your manpowers, your Kelly already that were doing this. So I don't think it's something that I can say I came up with the concept or, it's something that it's a light bulb that came and said, oh my God, you can. No, it wasn't.
Just
I knew that I don't even say that it's a gap per se, but I knew that I could do this as well because I was doing it already. Remember, as I said to you when I started, I knew that it's something that I could do well because there was a passion, behind as well that I really wanted to see other people succeed. And I wanted to be that person that opens up those doors for other people. I mean, if I can do it without getting paid, I can actually do it for a living.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us more about that, what you just said.
Yeah.
If I could get paid from it, then I might as well do it for a living.
Yeah.
Take us through when you started your business. Because people always look at people that have made it or that have grown businesses, and we see it now.
Yeah.
But we were not there when you were starting.
Yeah.
When you were quitting the job, starting this, growing it. We were not there. We were not there.
Yeah.
So take us through that, the pain went through, if there was any pain.
Yeah.
If it was easy, Pella, tell us and say it was too easy.
Ooh. Okay. So the idea, funny enough, came through, I think, a group of friends. We're at work and obviously we're seeing this gap, we're noticing this gap. And as I said, also, the passion has always been there to say one day one is going to do this for money. And, we're sitting there, let's do this, we can do this. But I think really the push for me wasn't necessarily to say I'm going to quit my job. It was, circumstantial because I got retrenched. And then I thought to myself, okay, then there actually isn't a need. In fact, when this business came about, the opportunity presented itself.
Someone retrenched someone like you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on.
You know why I ask?
You're just a number.
Sometimes I usually reason and I say, as a business owner, I wouldn't retrench someone who's doing extremely well for the business.
Yeah.
So you seem to me like someone who is energetic, passionate, knows what they're talking about, which means you knew exactly what you were doing.
Because you can identify that in me. Some didn't.
Yes,
so that is why it's easy to retrench me if you don't see that.
Someone retrenched you.
Yeah.
Was it because you were incompetent, or they just didn't recognize the value that was in you?
I think that I wasn't born for that space. I think I was born for greater things. And I think I had already done my time in terms of learning what I needed to. So I can't say it's them that didn't maybe realize my capabilities or my passion, as you put it. I just think that it's just what God had planned for me. It was time.
So God kicked you out.
Absolutely.
God fired you.
Literally like a karate kick type of move. We're going to kick you out. But I'm not going to now and sit here and lie and say when I started this business, I was already recruiting on the side.
For people for free or what?
No.
Okay,
yes, there was an opportunity that presented itself and I was doing that. So it made it easier.
Was it formal, like in a form of a business, or was it just something you're doing?
Yes, it was in a form of a business. Yes, it was in a form of a business. And I think the time when I actually realized, Guti, we're not doing this, is when I think 2 placements were done, right? And I thought, this is now my annual salary. I could do this.
With 2 placements, yes.
You know what I mean? I thought, no ways, I'm not doing this. And I actually saw then the greater opportunity for me to advance myself, financially, as well as, obviously being able to then pursue, this business. So I think when I started, that was something that I was already doing. And as I said, I realized that, from that, here it is. And in fact, my former boss, where I was retrenched, when I did the interview with them, I said, it was a small company because I came from big corporates now. So I
and you joined the small firm.
Yeah. When I joined that firm, I said to them in the interview, I am here to learn how to run a business. I kid you not. And he said, so what is your 5-year plan? And I said, I'm not going to be in your business. I'm going to be running my own business.
Yeah.
And it almost was like a joke, or you're just so confident. But I think I felt that in my spirit, this is what I wanted to do. And this was just my journey to come and actually,
that's why you were fired,
and learn. No, no,
retrenched.
no. Oh no, they were really amazing people. I mean, we did
Yeah.
really good things together. But I just, I had to be honest. I was at that point where I really, wanted to be honest with myself, wanted to be honest with the people that, were employing me so that they knew what my plans were.
Yeah. So the reason I'm saying this,
Yeah.
I'm saying, don't you think in hindsight, they would have observed you over the years? Remember earlier on I said,
Yeah.
how can someone retrench someone like
Yeah.
you? And then now I'm thinking, don't you think in hindsight, they would have seen you grow over the years? And they're like, guys, instead of retrenching this one person
Yeah.
who doesn't have aspirations of starting a business,
Yeah.
let's rather
Retrench this one who can.
Nokuthula, because we know she's going to thrive.
Yeah.
Don't you think in hindsight, there are two sides to the
Look,
story?
if the situation wasn't that, it probably could have, but it was because of COVID. So the company...
Oh, COVID.
Yeah. So they closed
the blessing
down.
to all of us.
They closed down. The business
Yes.
closed down purely because of, the pandemic that obviously hit us. So I think...
But isn't that interesting? Ne?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That during COVID, some businesses were closing.
Yeah.
While others were being born.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that? What does it mean to you?
And I think that's
seeing things
exactly
like that?
my business, because during that time when they were closing, for some reason, my clients were recruiting more, so one was able to really, see the opportunity. I think even our offices were, if I'm not mistaken, we actually found offices during COVID.
Your first office for your business.
For the business in Sandton.
Yeah.
On Daisy Street.
So you don't play, ne? Good
right
places.
there, right?
Yeah.
No, but I think that was really just, God literally moving in and saying, you can do it. Because, the last thing that's in your mind, a girl from KZN thinking I can actually have an office in the heart of Sandton,
Richest square mile in Africa.
Right.
Yes.
So I think that was just literally God, paving the way, and really, when they say he takes 10 steps ahead of you, that really was that. Yeah. So
what sort of psychology do you need to have? Sometimes, especially a lot of people that have done great things, ne?
Yeah.
They always say God has done it, but not everyone can do it. And are we saying God has got special favorites, which we both know he probably doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So what sort of psychology does one need to have to recognize this is the time for me to scale and grow? This is the time for me to start the business. When other businesses are closing, the same business that's in your industry that you are working for is closing down.
Yeah.
And here you're getting offices in Sandton.
Yeah.
And you're scaling.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand the psychology and also paint it for someone watching there.
Yeah.
What mind frame were you in at that particular moment? Yes, God worked for you.
Yeah.
God brought it for you. But God could have brought it for you and you wouldn't have been able to see it if you're not in the right space.
I guess maybe if you put it like that. But to be honest with you, for me, I would definitely say God did it for me, because even myself, when I look back, with everything given, like you're saying, I mean, that was really scary times. How did one, manage to do that? I think when I say God moved in, because I got introduced to this landlord through a friend.
Yeah.
You understand? And she had just recently moved there, and she's like, I want to come and show you the space that I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm fine with my business at home, because I was working from home.
We were working from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when she came up with this, and
Any
I saw
employees at the time?
No. Exactly. You see. So that is why I'm saying from my side, really God did move in more than my psychology, because my psychology would have said, don't make that move. I mean, look at what's happening.
Yeah. What was your psychology? What frame of mind were you in? I want to tap into that, right? What, when you think back,
okay.
Yes, God moved.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not discounting.
Yes.
I'm saying God is moving.
Yeah.
What's in your mind? What's your mindset?
I wanted to grow the business. I knew the vision of what I wanted this business to be. And I knew that, God is going to move and it's going to happen. But I didn't know how. And I didn't prescribe to say, in this particular time frame, I want to be in an office space. When it happened, I just knew it's time.
You took the opportunity.
Because I knew it was time. Now I'm ready for it, because from that time I've never not had offices from that time.
Yeah.
So again, and I can go back and say, for me it is, as you say, the psychology which would be believing in yourself and having a vision and having a plan for your business, and also just trusting in the higher power.
Yes.
the one that actually has a plan for you, And also, just one of the things that I need to also highlight as well is that when I started this business, really, I could say now, when I look back, it had everything, about me and not what actually has actually happened now. And now you're mentioning like what were the pits, when I was going through.
Yeah.
When I started this business, look, everything was rosy, everything was going well, money was coming in, placements were being made, it was good, and getting the offices, hiring people, there wasn't much of a stretch in terms that one I could say, I struggled with it almost like was such a seamless process, but I think beginning of this year was really a test for me, really a test. And that's when I actually realized that it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. I remember this one time, like I was speaking to this client, and one of the things that I said, you don't understand that you think this is about me and me trying to, make a business. There's so many people that are, that are dependent on us doing this, on me being here. I have to make this work. I have to make this work because it's not just about me, Because again, like you're saying, if I could leave this, I could go do something else. I can. Because I have that mindset, I can start something else. You mentioned that what else was I doing? I was doing manufacturing. I was manufacturing leather bags, fashion. I love also that. That's also one of my passions. So I could easily go into that, but I'm sticking it through because the for me, I feel like the call is bigger than myself now. When I started, yes, it was about me, but now I realize it's actually bigger than myself. With the team that we have in the office, as well as the work that we're doing out there, we know that if we're not standing up and doing this, we are not then playing the part. Therefore, we cannot complain about what we're seeing, as you just mentioned now, being, unemployment being a big issue in South Africa. So if you really want to impact that, then you need to stand up and
where does that conviction come from? That conviction to say, I see the problem that's in society.
Yeah.
Now I've realized this work is more than just me.
Yeah.
Right? It's no longer about me just making money.
Yeah.
Right? It's more about firstly employing people to work for me.
Yeah.
And then secondly, to help other people find employment.
Yeah.
So where does that conviction come from? And what exactly do you see when you look at the state of our country's unemployment?
Yeah. Remember I said in the beginning that I've always wanted to help people. That's where I've always been that individual. Now I can see that with the work that I'm doing, aside from me and my aspirations and what I want to achieve in life, there is actually an impact that I'm making, a greater impact. So that's where I could say it's coming from. I think, all of us, we're born with a purpose, and you feel it. You feel something that calls you to do something, that yes, it's calling you, it, and maybe you're thinking, it's for me. And then eventually something happens that actually confirms it's actually not about you. You're just the vessel to make sure that that thing is actually done. So that is why, I'm still here and I'm doing this and I'm going to do it. And we're going to make a mark, and I want to be that black face that represents a black face. That's who I'm going to be.
How important is that, what you just said? A black face that represents a black face. That speaks to representation.
Yes.
A lot of times I always say that the reason I would work on work and then also be on social media and do all the things that we're doing and be on this platform as well is because I want a black child to be watching this and say, these people look exactly like me.
Yes.
If I want to do it, I can do it because there's nothing hindering me. If a Nokuthula can do it, if a witness can do it, I can do it too. So how important is that to you and what does it mean, representation?
I think it's very important when I witness, because I think growing up in my era, if I can put it there was very few people that one could actually look up to. It was almost like, very few that were representing me, female, black, doing it. So for me, it's very important. Even now, I know that obviously times are changing and we're seeing a lot more, black people taking up and owning these spaces in terms of, entrepreneurship. We see that there's actually quite a lot. But I feel that, we still need to show now success, because what we're not seeing is, success in this space. We're seeing a lot of, other, other cultures or other ethnicities being able to pull it off. And, I don't know whether maybe it's a genetic thing or it's because obviously they've been doing it for longer than we are. Now the fight is, be successful at it and make a great impact.
What does significance mean to you?
Significance. Repeat that again.
What does significance mean to you?
That caught me off guard.
Yeah, I'm asking because of what you just said.
Significance.
Understanding how important you are in any space.
I'm trying to think of how to answer that one. I think it's important in... I don't know how to put this, in what angle. I don't know what angle to put that one. But
take any angle. You are free. I've got time. Don't worry about me. It's your time.
Again, like if I can go back to what we've just discussed now, it's, how important is it for representation and the significance of being represented by, a you and me, out there, that you take it and apply it to yourself and say, if they can do it, I can do it. What stops me from doing it? And also just to learn, when someone is, maybe I could say, walk the mile in your shoes and they understand where you're coming from, it almost makes it, it assures you of your ability to be able to also do it the same way that they've done it. So I think it is significant for us Black people that are obviously already in here to show that it is doable. It's something that you can achieve, even as a child coming from a rural area, even as a child coming from a township, even from a child coming from a disadvantaged background. It is possible. I don't know whether I've answered you.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. So the state of unemployment in our country.
Yeah.
And what obviously you're in the space where you guys are solving the unemployment issue in a big way or in a small way, you're solving it, right?
Yeah.
So unemployment in the country, what does it look like and what does it mean to you and what do you see the future becoming?
Look, I one of the things that I can say now is that when you are standing from outside, the future does look a bit glim, but once you're actually in there, you're seeing these opportunities that, where the government and private sectors are actually playing, you actually see that, this is actually something that we can combat if we just work together. Why I'm saying that is that, there's so many programs that we're seeing, there's learnerships, there's internships that we're seeing that, government is running with, as well as the, private sector. I mean, we see the YES programs, that is helping youth that is, qualified in whatever skill and unqualified to get work experience, work exposure, which has been the biggest issue. So I think in somewhat we are solving that, but I'm not sure in terms of the pace. Is this the right pace at which we're doing it to obviously be able to make the significant impact that is felt and seen, in our economy? But is there impact? Definitely. Are there people that are trying to fight this fight? Absolutely. And that is why we as Global eTalent have also taken it upon ourselves to make sure that we partner with these agencies that actually have these opportunities, to make sure that we also, within the pool, within our reach, we are able to, bring in those people that are actually probably would not be exposed to these opportunities, to be exposed. So for an example, what we do, we go to universities, we speak about these opportunities. We also partner up with your CEDAs and we speak about these opportunities within the SMME space, encouraging the SMMEs to consider, hosting these learners by giving them work experience and work exposure. So that's why I'm saying that I think there is work that is being done, but I'm just not sure in terms of the pace. Maybe the pace could be, much quicker, but I think there is something that is being done. And
What would you say to those young people that say, I don't need education to make it? Mark Zuckerberg is a billionaire and he dropped out of Harvard. And there's a lot of that is prevalent nowadays. That sort of mindset that says, I know a taxi owner who didn't go to varsity, but he's got lots of money. So if I can make it too without education. Do you think a lot of people that are making it is those without education or those with education?
I think it depends. It depends on you as an individual, so I can't really prescribe to say
what's there as a recruiter?
Yeah.
Do you recruit more people that don't have education but have the skills, or you recruit? Because I'm asking this deliberately because I heard you say we go to varsities.
Yes.
We find these young people and we
Yes.
plug them into opportunities.
Absolutely.
So
In
meaning
my space,
if I'm not in varsity, I'm automatically excluded from that kind of opportunity.
Look, in a way, I could say it does limit you. I wouldn't say exclude you. I would say it does limit you, because the one way to open up these doors is if you can show that you have the ability to think outside the box, which I think is what education really does. It helps a person to be able to research, be able to think outside of what the challenge is and find solutions, to whatever challenges that businesses could be coming up with. And I think that's just basically how I would say employers gauge, your impact as an individual that's coming into them. Are you that individual that can actually bring in solutions in my space? Can you make that impact, right? So that piece of paper guarantees them that you have solved problems, you have sat and you have been dedicated, you have pursued something, that is worth pursuing. So look, there are people that are successful without a qualification. And as you've just mentioned now, you're Mark Zuckerberg, they've done it. I can't sit here and say without it, you can never, but I do believe that a lot of us do need to, take the route of education, not because of what you're studying in class, but what it can do for you mentally,
You know what I always say?
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of an Ivy League university. He didn't drop out of a South African high school,
right?
Tembisa High School.
Right.
So there has to be context.
There has to be context, exactly.
And both his parents were professionals anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not like a child in South Africa whose mother is a domestic worker and father is a taxi driver.
Yeah.
The opportunities
Also
are obviously going to be different.
Yeah, but you made reference to a taxi driver, so other kids could look and say, "But I can be a taxi driver. I don't have to be like the owner of Microsoft or whatever. I can still make my money doing that." Remember, also again, that goes back to the context, So that is why I'm saying there are people that can still make it even without that qualification. But if people are able to apply themselves the same way that a graduate can apply themselves, why not win? You will win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, maybe I'm asking and saying this because I understand that obviously there are people that do make it without formal education. But it all depends on what you want to become, right?
Yeah.
So obviously if you want to become a taxi driver, like you're saying, you don't have to study, you just learn how to drive.
Exactly.
Right? So, but also that speaks to ambition.
Yeah.
Right? What sort of ambition do you think, what role do you think ambition plays in a person finding a high level job, for instance, if you're placing a CEO?
Yeah.
What sort of ambition, what role do you think ambition plays in that?
A huge role. I think all of us as people, you need to have ambition is what drives you to attain whatever it is that you want to attain. In corporate, your ambitions would be probably reaching, exco level, be a CEO, as you've just mentioned, but it's what drives you. What is it that you want to achieve? Also as well, outside of, the corporate sector, for example, in the space of business, exactly. You also need ambition. What drives you? What is it that you want to achieve? I did mention to you that starting this business, I had a vision to say, I want to, it's in the name, Global eTalent, I want to be able to source outside of our context because of just seeing how the world is actually, it's shrinking so much. I mean, we were able to recruit in 4 different countries, within the African continent, just being based here in Gauteng. That should tell you something for businesses that are actually in those countries. So I didn't want to limit myself to only just the South African context. I wanted to, open myself up to learning. And also for me, it was also just that learning other, other ways other countries do, like employment. How is employment in Namibia? How do you drive employment there? So one is learning even just by, exposing oneself to. So that's why I say ambition it's key.
It's very important.
It's key.
So when you started, you were obviously self-employed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, because I know the work that you're doing,
Yeah.
I see you've employed people.
Yeah.
So you've transitioned
Yeah.
from being a self-employed individual
Yes.
to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What do you think is the difference between those two things in your experience and understanding? A self-employed individual and an entrepreneur.
I think from what I have learned, because I'm not going to claim to say that I know the difference. I think in my journey, and also listening to I listened to a lot of Simon, what's his name?
Simon Sinek.
Yes. Yeah. Self-employment is when you work for yourself, right?
Yeah.
You do the work for you. Now, entrepreneur is being able to put an idea, give it to those that can actually run with it better than you can. And which is what I think my business is actually at right now, where I am at that point where this business now, with where I've taken it through my journey as being self-employed, I think now it actually can now flourish to be something way bigger than what I could take it. So I think that's when then the difference comes in, where you're not now the driving person. You're now employing people, other people with better skills than you to actually drive your vision.
So,
Yeah.
So you're saying entrepreneurship is the ability to find drivers.
Yeah. The ability to
so
find
this driving
drivers.
conversation is still coming back. So it depends what you are driving.
It depends what you're driving. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So how do you find these drivers? What are the key ways that you think somebody could have the capability to find the right kind of drivers?
And let me tell you, that's not easy, hey? That's really not easy, because you're saying to someone they must tap into what you are seeing, in terms of your vision. But obviously you need to be able to explain that vision to them, and they must be able to get it, right?
Yeah.
And they must share in that vision with you. They must want what you want. They must want to do it and obviously achieve that vision, but obviously in their way. And it hasn't been easy. I have to, be honest with you, to tell you that it's not easy finding people that share in the same vision as you, and also for you to let go as well it's not also easy, because in your mind, when you started this thing, you didn't have an idea of, other people coming in and actually carrying it and seeing it through. So I think my struggle, right now is finding the appropriate driver. And I thought that I had, and it turned out to be not so. In fact, not once.
The driver didn't have a driver's license.
It's just the vision. The vision was not aligned. Our visions were not the same. So, so it's a trial and error type of, I would say for me, it's been trial and error. So, back and forth, having the conversation with the right people, meeting them at the right place and time. Are they ready to come in? Are they seeing this vision? Can they drive this to, where you're saying that you foresee your business to be? So, yeah.
So I read something the other time. The writer says, sometimes it's not even about showing up every day and having the right skills.
Yeah.
It's about whether or not you are able to outlast the competition, right? So do you think people just lose the motivation along the way when it's, someone could start off as the driver, right?
Yeah.
And you're betting on this person and saying this is the right person to run this project or run this business. And along the way, they drop the ball.
And I think a lot of times that's how a lot of businesses fail as well. I think it's when the hard times, when you're being tested, in your character, because it's your character that will, outrun you. It would be your character that actually sustains you in, when, the difficult times come. And I think a lot of people, sometimes it really is just that, where they, give up on their vision and they, the plans that they have for their business. I think it's there, and not being able to have a clear picture and the vision of where you want to take the business. Because I think one of the things when I was listening to Vusi Timbaka, I said, one of the things that I want to see this business, if I'm not taking it to the end, somebody else must be able to take the baton from me and run right till the end of the line, right? And my end of the line doesn't mean that it's the end of the line of the business. So I'm open to one day, handing over this business to somebody who can actually take it all the way. So I'm open to that. And I think sometimes, when people get tired and, because they are now obviously either run down or exhausted, not forgetting that the business still has, capabilities of being something that is amazing, they even give up on the business itself. So I know that when Nokuthula, this time, has come to, an end to say, this is how far I could take it, I'm willing to let it go and give it to somebody who's going to make, this place amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does one sharpen that kind of mindset? I mean, is it books that you read? I heard you mention Simon Sinek,
Yeah.
Yeah. So which tells me you work a lot on your personal development.
Absolutely.
What does personal development mean to you?
That's exactly it. Being able to challenge yourself and being able to refine your skill sets, your characters, I say, and being able to understand that, you're not going to be everything, your business needs, and I think for me, I wouldn't say much of the books, but I'd say a lot of reading. I think I'm not a lot of listening. I listen. I'm what is it? I'm an audio person. I like to, I learn through listening to all these, talks from all these different, what do you call motivational speakers. So I gain a lot from insights from them, and also just surround myself with a lot of, coaches. Like I've got a coach in Dando Maseko who's coaching me through this journey.
An amazing gentleman.
Exactly. So you see, so I've put in great support around myself to make sure that I live out my purpose the way that I've seen it.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say to anyone who's embarking on this journey or is in this journey is to invest in yourself, grow yourself, learn yourself, and also be able to identify your weaknesses and your strengths. And I was even telling the team today that, one must be able to be honest about their weaknesses, because your weaknesses help you to, gauge where you are in your life and also be able to, is this now the space that requires me? Can I, with my, gaps, be able to take this business to where it needs to? You need to be honest. And unfortunately, if you're not honest in business about who you are as a person, I think that's also another issue that sometimes many entrepreneurs obviously run into, where you're not able to reflect and say, okay, this is my gap. I don't think I can take it past this. The business I can't do it myself, because you can't be a jack of all trades. You can't be great at everything. There's certain, there's certain seasons that will come in your business that will require a different type of approach. And if you're not that individual that has that type of approach, you need to be honest with yourself to say, then you're going to need obviously somebody else who has that to be able to run with it. So, yeah.
So apart from your internal team, what sort of support structure do you need to have around you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur? You mentioned the coach.
Coach
is one of them.
Yeah.
What else?
I think coach, friends that support you, friends that believe in you, family that believes in you, family that trusts that you can do it, because obviously, your support structure literally is what feeds you when you're down. That's what I've seen with myself. What feeds me is, my support structure. And it's not limited to just only coaches. It's quite a lot. It's my friends. It's, my wonderful coaches that not only, I'm only dealing with them just primarily on business. It's also outside. You make relationships. So, you form relationships with these people, and that's how I've been able to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5 books that you've read?
Jeez, as I said, I'm not a reader.
It's a lot.
I can't.
Five is a lot.
But I would say
mention the 5 ones in the Bible. Deuteronomy, Proverbs.
Those are the ones. To be honest with you,
give me 2.
And I used to.
Give me 2 of your favorites.
Ask my favorites.
Yeah.
No, I can't give you books. I don't. I'm not a.
You've never read a book.
I've never
quite
finished.
Interesting to meet people that are phenomenal like you, and they say,
no,
I don't have a favorite book.
No. But I'm, like I said, I
okay,
love
5
to listen
speakers
to
that you can.
Simon Vositimbakwayo is one of those people. I'm actually warming up to what's her name again? She was the Vice Chancellor, VC of Cape Town. I really love yes. I really love her, her approach to life. very, very, I think I resonate a lot with an individual like that who, has achieved so much and so much resilience with what she's obviously faced. So again, yeah. And I guess also then people around myself as well that I've met that are phenomenal. Like you said, our common coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your most favorite quotes? Could be one, could be two, could be three.
Geez, I'm seeing quite a lot, but okay, the one that I love, which absolutely speaks to me in the work that I do, Umuntu Ngabantu. That's the one.
Umuntu, that's Brenda.
Yes.
That's a Brenda Fassie song.
Yeah, but it's a quote that really, for me, in fact, I was even sharing this with my husband to say, in this life, we hear a lot of, it's hard work, it's this. But umuntu ngabantu. And I've just said to you now, it's about networking, being able to know the right people that can actually open the doors. And we hear a lot of people saying, you hope to have people in your life that can mention your names in rooms full of opportunities. That for me is what resonates, especially being in this space that I'm in. There's been a lot of times where my name has been mentioned in rooms full of those opportunities. And that's how I've been able to, get these opportunities. And again, my work as well, it's that where I mention people's names in rooms, full of opportunities. So,
so that's why there's a reciprocation when it comes to that.
Yeah.
So that camera there is looking at you.
Yes.
I want you to look at it back, right? And speak to the viewer at home.
Yes.
Somebody could be sitting at home, dejected, discouraged.
Yes.
And they're just waiting for Usis Nokuthula.
Yes.
That looks exactly like them.
Yes.
Or maybe might not even look exactly like them.
Yes.
But it's a woman. And they're saying, I love that story, I'm inspired.
Yeah.
Or I'm about to give up.
Yeah.
Give them some sort of inspiration, motivation, encouraging words.
Look, I'm going to reflect back into my journey, to say, do it your way. Your path is your path. You are only here, by God's design, not anybody else. Don't, as much as take what people are telling you, but focus on what you want to achieve in life and what you've been called to do. The sooner you understand yourself and what you've been called to do, the better for yourself. And believe in yourself. And I think a lot of times we doubt ourselves a lot. And I think, in my journey, I've been hit a lot with doubting myself and putting people in a pedestal and forgetting that they're also human like myself and they're struggling with their own, monsters. And everybody's fighting a fight. And you too, your fight is your fight, but you need to learn to conquer yours and be the best that you can be.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was our amazing guest, Sis Nokuthula Molepo, the founder of Global eTalent.
Yes, you said it right.
Thank you so much.
Absolute
for
pleasure.
giving us your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
You are doing amazing work.
Thank you.
So we pray that God will give you more opportunities.
Thank you.
To reach more people, to empower more people.
Yes.
Not just in South Africa.
Yeah.
But globally.
Absolutely.
So thank you for gracing us with your time.
Thank you.
And if you're sitting at home, remember to click on the subscribe button, the notifications bell. Comment. Let us know what your thoughts are. What inspired you about this interview? What inspired you about Usis Nokuthula? And until the next episode, remember, guys, it's more than just money. Thank you for tuning in to the Winner Circle. Ciao, ciao.
Cut. Oh, my goodness. Wow.
We score.